Good day, everyone. I am Angeline together with Arabella, your host for today.
You're right, Angge. But before anything else, how are you, partner?
I am beautifully, wonderfully fine, partner. How about you?
Well, same here. But you know what?
Not yet.
I just remembered my childhood.
Ah, how sentimental. So, how's your childhood memory?
It's my seventh birthday. You know, usually when a child turns 7, they throw a party.
Yes, it's like a debut of every children. Let's welcome Miss Nicole, a professor at Benison International School, Miss Reina and Mr. Jean, an early childhood teacher at ABC Childcare Institution, Miss Realyn and Miss Carissa, a children's psychologist at Philippine Doctors and Medicine.
Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to know who is this great legislator, Sigmund Freud. So without a further ado, let's get to know him better.
Miss Nicole, I heard that you give lectures about who is Mr. Sigmund Freud.
Yes, you are right. I am a professor of ECE faculty, and Freud and his work are one of my lessons.
Interesting, right, partner?
Yes. So can you please introduce to us who is this Mr. Sigmund Freud?
Yes, sure. So, Sigmund Freud is the most influential intellectual legislator of his age. He was born on May 6, 1856 in Czechoslovakia. He is the founder of psychoanalysis that was at once a theory of the human psyche, a therapy for the relief of its ills, and an optic for the interpretation of culture and society. Despite repeated criticism, attempted reputations, and its qualification of Freud's work, its grip remained powerful long after his death and his field far removed from psychology in its narrowest sense.
That's amazing. Well, except from the fact that his work were criticized until his death.
You're right, partner. But well, time finds its way for a beautiful revenge.
About the books he wrote, what do you think is the best book he wrote?
For me, it is a book entitled The Unconscious that was published in 1915. It tackles the model of human mind, the concept of the conscious mind, which is a reservoir of thoughts, memories, and emotions that exists outside of the conscious mind. Awareness is one of its most enduring theories.
Yes, I agree. It was indeed the best book.
So you do agree, Miss Realyn.
Yes, indeed. Freud's view was that the principal purpose of unconscious and subconscious layer in storing information rather than information acquisition and processing.
Wow, that's deep. Can you please elaborate it for us and for our viewers?
Our conscious thinking, perceiving, learning accounts for only a small fraction of our total mental activity, with the rest being entirely non-conscious.
Based on what Miss Rayalyn said, we people intend to learn with our conscious mind, but we are not aware that we people are also learning. Not only learning generally unconscious, like for example, the babies were learning their first walk, word, and other force unconsciously, and it was because of the influence of the environment.
Wow! That's a very helpful knowledge to know.
Yes, and based on the book, The Unconscious, on page 207, it is said that most of what we do goes on unconsciously. It is the exception, not the rule. When thinking is conscious, but its very nature, conscious thought seems the only sort. It is not the only sort, it is the minority.
The role of conscious mind is much more modest than thought before. Our conscious minds work much more slowly than our non-conscious minds. Most of the time, we learn from our experience.
Like for the example, with childhood stories from earlier, Miss Arabella and Miss Angeline, your childhood experiences helps to the both of you to appreciate and treasure that moment. Unconsciously, your experiences helps you to understand the possibilities and your opinion on how life works.
In addition to that, you became more responsible in everything you do because unconsciously you gain a knowledge that not everything is permanent.
Yes, you tend to appreciate life at the young age, and it's helped you to enjoy life in the following more years of your life.
In that case, you get everything you want in your childhood, and by growing up, knowing that it's not always how it works, it helps you guys to do harder to get what you want. And because of that, most of the time, because of the responsibility and hardship you gave, you get more of what you deserve.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense, right, partner?
Yes, I do agree, partner. It enlightened me so much.
But brace yourself, partner. I heard that Miss Regine and Miss Reina will tell us more about the stages of adulthood and the three components of a human mind.
Well, I'm excited to learn more.
Freud suggested that personality was composed of three major components: the id, the ego, and the superego. The id, the ego, and the superego, it can simply explain in three words: the conscious, unconscious, and subconscious. The superego were associated in conscious, meaning that superego hold the internalized moral standard and ideals that we acquired from our parents and society. Our sense of right and wrong, it is divided into two parts. The conscience, which is we are all familiar with all the ego ideals, includes the role and the standard for behavior that the ego inspires to. So what is the ego? The ego is the component of personality that is responsible for dealing with reality. And on the other hand, the id is the only component of personality that is present from birth. This aspect of personality is entirely unconscious and includes instinctive and primitive behaviors.
Wow, that's a lot of information. Can you please summarize the thought?
Yeah, sure. The superego appear when we are conscious. The superego provide guidelines for making judgment, while the id appear in our unconscious mind, usually driven by what we want or needs. And lastly, the ego function in the conscious, preconscious, and unconscious mind, meaning instead of following the urges of id, which for example is what you want, you will do it for a short period of time while with the right things to do, and afterward, you will follow the judgment of your superego. The best example is dieting. While you are in your first time diet plan, your id will surely want to eat, but your ego will stop you and with the situation. Then afterwards, you will decide to follow your diet or disregard it with your superego or conscious mind.
Thank you for your precise explanation, Miss Reina.
Now, let's move on to the stages of adulthood. Miss Regine?
Yes, thank you, Miss Ara. So the 5 stages of adulthood is very simple. Freud identified 5 stages of growth occurring from infancy to adulthood. First is the oral that occurs from birth 1.5 years of age. Second, the anal from 1.5 to 3 years of age. Third, the phallic from 3 to 5 years of age. Fourth, latency from 5 to 12 years of age. And lastly, genital, 12 to adulthood. During the oral stage, the infant's primary source of interaction occurs through the mouth. So the rooting and sucking reflex is especially important because the infant is entirely dependent upon caretakers who are responsible for feeding the child. The child also develops a sense of trust and comfort through this oral stimulation. During the anal stage, Freud believed that the primary focus of the libido was controlling bladder and bowel movements.
Freud believed that positive experiences during the toilet training stage serve as the basis for people to become competent, productive, and creative adults. Freud suggested that during the phallic stage, the primary focus of the libido is on the genitals. At this stage, children also begin to discover the differences between males and females. Eventually, the child begins to identify with the same-sex parent as a means of vicariously possessing the other parent. For girls, however, Freud believed that penis envy was never fully resolved and that all women remain somewhat fixated on this stage. During this stage, the superego continues to develop while the id energies are suppressed. Children develop social skills, values, and relationships with peers and adults outside of the family. This stage is important in the development of social and communication skills and self-confidence.
Wow, I became speechless from what I have learned for today.
Yes, you're right, partner. I want to learn more, but sadly, we ran out of time. But before we bid our goodbyes, are there any last reminders for our guest today?
Yes. A simple reminder for every parent out there. The topic that we discussed today were very important to your child's growth. If the stages have been completed successfully, the individual shall now be well balanced, warm and caring. But failure to do this may result in personality flaws of every children.
Very well said, Miss Nicole. Thank you very much for all of our guests. Thank you for your time and for your knowledge.
This is Angeline, leaving a message for everyone that no matter what happens, try to enjoy your life. No, enjoy your life to the fullest because every day is once in a lifetime moment. You will never do it again in the afterlife.
This is Arabella leaving a message. Life is full of hardship, sometimes full of complicated things and problems, but always remember that to be happy and don't forget to enjoy life. Because everything that happens every day is our responsibility, and someday at the right time, you will achieve the things that you really deserve.
Thank you for watching.
Bye! See you next week!